everyone? Super excited. Welcome back to the Checked Out Podcast. I'm Doug, and I'm here with Ryan today. We're super excited. But first, before we start, we got to be a big shout out to our friends at PASkillalliance.org. Guys, they're great partners across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania helping small businesses for turtle orders. And those that are in our community keep the lights on. Guys, Main Street first. And as always, it's skill, not luck. Baby.
This week, we're hitting the ground running. We're coming out hard. We're driving to the fastest extent the law will allow us to drive, and we are going full tilt this week. We're excited. We have John Thompson this week, legend, local legend, track legend of all kinds of different tracks, multiple tracks. How many guests do you know that you have that are involved with multiple different tracks of racing?
And one of the biggest industrial scrap operations in Western Pennsylvania. It's going to be amazing, guys. We're also going to talk about one of my favorite retail stereotypes. That's right, baby. The lottery vulture, the creature that lingers until you buy 10 tickets in a row and losing every single one of them, and they swoop in.
We also got our corporate word of the week, Evergreen. It involves Evergreen. That's all I'm going to say. And it's got some Norwegian backgrounds to it.
While he's talking about Norwegian, we also have a Norway grocery store that operates pretty interestingly, and how cans of bacon grease turns into military supply.
But you know, the crown jewel is we're sitting down with one of the Western PA's like iconic guys. I mean, the guy has conquered the business world. He's conquered two different race worlds, and you know, he's a character. He's like us. He's a character. The guy's a character. So I can't wait to talk to John Thompson. Very honored to have him as guest this week.
Guys, so much going on. Let's get right into it. So, Ryan, what's going on this week?
Well, I'll tell you, this week has been a wild week, but the two notable things, I mean, this week honestly was a wild week because I literally wrote down in my notes 10 different things that could have been used for like to describing the week. It's been that kind of a week. But, you know, very excited for this week at Kittanning store. My Bloody Valentine. We talked about it before in the cast. My Bloody Valentine, 2009 movie, filmed in 2007. A lot of it was filmed in the Kittanning area.
Remember the lady with the rat? She had the pet trained rat, and she brought it with her everywhere, including the movie. Like I was there the whole movie trying to watch the premiere, and this freaking rat's there just eyeballing me.
I remember the lady with the eagle.
No, it's a rat lady.
And I remember the lady with the parakeet, the one that talked. The one that she trained to say Ryan.
Yeah, if this is a trifecta, she's
Elvis. It was called Elvis. The name of the bird was Elvis. But anyways.
Yeah, no, it's the rat lady.
Why do we know so many people with random animals?
I don't know.
Yeah, but it's the 20-year anniversary of My Bloody Valentine. And, you know, a lot of it was filmed at the Kittanning store and reached out. Kenny, shout out Kenny, reached out to me about 4 or 5 months ago. Hey, you know, we're getting together this like tour of Kittanning. We're going to look at some of the places that Mothman Prophecies, Richard Gere was filmed. We're going to look at like your store from My Bloody Valentine. We're going to the Torred Mine. We're doing all this stuff. It's like an all immersive experience for the hardcore fans of these movies. Like, are you interested in letting us use your store? So it's really cool. They're coming into the store after hours. They're going to have a movie screening, and you know the hardcore fans are going to be able to go around and see all the different sets and where everything took place. And Kenny's going to tell them, hey, this was this was this. He's actually going to give us some before and after pictures of like, this is what your store, this section looked like during the movie. This is what it looks like now. It's going to be really cool.
It's going to be a walk down memory lane. I mean, what people don't realize, that was such a huge production for Kittanning. They literally had where the mining place is, Rosebud was.
Yeah.
They had a big like food tent. I mean, they had trailers. It was insane.
No, it was a huge event. And if you remember, like different family members, we posted up every night while they filmed. And it was so cool to watch and see how it works and see all that went into it. All the actors, all the people behind the scenes, all the cameras, like the different sets, how they built the different sets, how they would construct things in the store, deconstruct things in the store. And I mean, it was just such a cool experience. And do you remember we might have touched on this before, but I went over this with Kenny again. This is interesting for new viewers out there. Mom had one stipulation when it came to filming that movie. It was what do they call it? A slasher?
Yeah, for sure.
Slasher film.
Yeah.
And do you remember the one stipulation? She actually had it written into the contract.
She had it written in.
Yeah.
Nobody gets clipped in the store.
Nobody can be killed in the store.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just great. Kenny thought that was great information. He said, "Oh man," he said, "the hardcore fans are gonna love that." But anyway, so that's happening this week. And then the other thing that is we have all these interactions every day with people, and it's almost like a Seinfeld effect. Every interaction creates a story. And I mean, you just said that you got like 8 or 10 new stories this weekend. Same here. Like now that we're like doing this and we're like, it's like a journal. So like all these great stories. But anyways, I was at the Transit Authority, Armstrong County today, meeting with my friends, and Patty and Anthony and company, Tiffany. They're always great, and they've been great. The bus station is in the corner of the Kittanning store lot. And so I'm there meeting with them about promoting some stuff. And Patty goes into the story about her dog. And it was so funny because I was just talking about this with Pedro, and you have dogs, so you can appreciate this. Dogs are amazing athletes. I mean, it sounds like, oh, duh. But seriously, let's break it down. And for those of you, I mean, there's a lot of pet owners out there. Next time your little specimen jumps, take notice. Like, Patty was telling the story about her dog, McGregor. You're a Connor fan.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. Her husband actually names all their pets after Scottish names. He's got a thing.
Huh.
Yeah. But anyways, McGregor is this golden retriever, and she said that it was amazing. Like, the dog never got on the table for scraps, never did anything like that. All of a sudden, one day, it was inclined. Something struck it, and it literally went from just standing, didn't take a running start, and leapt up onto this, not table, like a bar.
Oh, wow.
Jumped up onto the bar.
And for those who don't know, a bar standard height is 42 inches, where a low table is 36 inches. So you're almost at 4 feet. Here's the crazy thing. If we got off the couch, like think about dogs for the most part, you always see them laying around hanging out, right? Can you imagine coming off the couch and sprinting after a squirrel at full speed and not ripping something or tearing something or blowing a knee out? Like, dogs are so resilient. They can literally go from like, we're just chilling, to full blown, I'm an animal and now I'm going to earn it in seconds without hurting anything.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. Dogs are actually, I mean, they're crazy athletic. And to put it in perspective, so we're sitting around this table, we're supposed to be talking about all these things we're going to promote for the Transit Authority, cross promotions. They're going to actually come back to, we're going to go hard on the Stuffa bus this year. They're going to join us for that. But anyways, so we're talking about all this, and the dog jumped, and she told me the story, and I said, Patty, I said, that's an amazing story. She said, no, it really was. I said, no, you don't understand. I said, how big is your retriever? She's like, oh, it's probably like, that. I said, okay. And how tall did you say the bar is?
Usually bars are 42 inches.
So 4 feet.
To 44.
So the retriever's probably standing at like, what, 1.5 feet, 2 feet?
Yeah, 2 feet.
So it'd be the equivalent of me standing here right now. I'm 5'10". Standing here right now. Without a running start, without, like you said, getting up off the couch, just like if I all of a sudden if there was no roof here and I jumped up into your kitchen, you would be like, whoa. It'd be like, I mean, that's like Spider-Man stuff.
Oh, yeah. No, animals are incredible.
I mean, yeah. But anyways, so we got into that conversation and just talking about that. And it is amazing how athletic they are. But hey, what's happening with you this week, Doug?
Well, it's funny, we're doing our annual junket, which those don't know, Ryan and I work together obviously all the time, but we also do the podcast together. There's a lot going on. So we're preparing for our village, or not village, our, what do you call it? Not voyage. What do they call it when you go on like a pilgrimage? Pilgrimage! Well,
yeah, I just heard on the call with our sponsors, actually, I just heard a lady refer to it as a sister retreat. Her annual, like, it's another, I think it's a borderline corporate word. I'll be on my annual sister retreat. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. We need to come up with a name for it, though, because we started this, last year, but we've really been doing a couple years where every year we go to Las Vegas. We love playing poker, big poker guys, love the World Series of Poker, and we go to the World Series of Poker and we play. So it's our annual, like, brotherly, like, not anything in relation to business. Just go and be like, kids again and just have fun.
And people don't realize, literally, you play poker from 10 o'clock in the morning till midnight. If you're lucky, you make it the whole time. But it's funny. All the stuff is cool stuff. We'll talk about more as it comes coming up. But I just remember last year getting to the elevator. I was knocked out early, and you were still in the tournament. Going to the elevator and looking over and see this guy roll up on this gold-colored power scooter. And I'm like, man, this guy's coming in hot. And like people have been to Vegas, the elevators are tight. Like it's like a tight alleyway. And here, it was Mike the Mouth. And I'm like, hey, Mike. And he's like, hey, how's it going? I'm like, good. Hit the elevator, but what floor are you going to? I'll get the next one. I'm like, all right. That's cool, though.
No, it was amazing. I thought that was a great story. And one thing for those of you out there that aren't poker fans, the cool thing about poker and playing in these tournaments is, you know, you get to play like in golf. If I like golf, I can't just show up at the Charles Schwab Invitational this week and decide I'm going to put my tee time next to Scotty Scheffler. That's not how it works. But in poker, if you have, you know, if you're able to post the money, now we don't play the crazy tournaments. We play the lower level, but still, they do too. The pros do too. And so you enter these tournaments and you literally, it's a crapshoot, but you can be sitting with a pro. And the other thing is you can literally be watching. The cool thing about poker is you can be watching these pros from like 20 feet away. So like, and they're staying in the hotels with us. So I'll never forget, Doug's like, I just had a conversation with Mike the Mouth Mattisau. And for those poker players, I mean, he's a legend. I'm like, oh, wow. But I mean, how cool is that? Like, you can't do that. You can't, if you and I went to an NFL game in New York and saw the Jets and the Steelers, there wouldn't be a story where we're like, oh, yeah, I just saw, you know, Joe Namath getting off the elevator.
No, it doesn't happen.
No.
It doesn't happen. The coolest thing last year, too, was when you got a picture of Dean Eggs, Dan Negreanu. By the way, fun fact, shout out to Dean Eggs, having a baby.
Whoa, wait. You ruined the episode. What the?
He's
okay, after this, no more ruining my episodes. Doug, Daniel Negreanu, he's our favorite poker player. He has a vlog, and we love it. He does a World Series vlog. Every day he vlogs, whatever. And Doug gets up at like 4 a.m. and watches this vlog. I don't watch it till the nighttime while I'm working out. I turn on the vlog. I listen to that while I'm working out. And so then, but, you know, Doug then has to either wait for the next day for me, which he's agreed to do, or
I said that for today.
Spill the beans. Are you serious?
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Our favorite poker player, who's been a lifetime bachelor.
I think he's your age.
They called him Kid Poker. No, he's older, actually.
Is he?
He's like 52.
Wow.
Kid Poker. Finally settled down, and he's having a baby.
Yep. Wow. Isn't that fun?
That's fun. Yeah. That's fun. That's very fun, actually. So, that's actually awesome. Boom! Shout out to D-Nex, Daniel Negreanu. Look him up, Daniel Negreanu. This week's Retail Stereotype with Doug.
Guys, I take you to everybody's favorite spot in the store. You're near the checkouts. There's a lot of things happening, but there's always this one person that's lurking in the corner. They're over there with this kind of like, almost like observant, just monitoring the situation happening. But this week, we're talking about a very favorite retail stereotype customer of the week. Ryan?
Well, we're not talking about the scratch-off camper, are we?
No, not scratch-off. Well, basically, yes, but they call it the Vulture.
Well, it's funny. The scratch-off camper, you know, I actually ran into one of those today at Kittanning. I had to get into the office to get some serious stuff for a guy that one of the employees was getting ready to leave, and he had to fill out some health insurance stuff. So I'm like waiting for this guy, and he's like scratching tickets. And I didn't want to like interrupt him. I kind of had to go around him. And I also didn't want to get a running start and like dive through the window of the office and disrupt them. So the customer comes first. But like, he's there camping out, and I'm like, what is happening? But anyways, it's not the camper.
No, but he's the guy that buys all the tickets. But no, pass me your little gong thing. No, it's the person over there that's there stirring their coffee, just watching, waiting for a person to lose 10 times on a $10 ticket, the same one. And as soon as that person goes to bathroom, buy something, whatever, they're like, hey, I'll have what they're playing. And they buy their ticket.
Okay, I got you. And I actually remember a great story involving you involving that. I don't know if you have planned to tell that during this, but it's a great story.
I actually didn't plan on telling it, but it's a great story.
Maybe you should. I don't know. Should we mix it up and you do? I mean, you have so many good stories this week. I'll let you decide when and if you want to. Great story. I think it's on point, though. I think it's on point.
I'll tell it. I'll tell it. I got to tell it.
it.
So when I was like 19 years old, I was working in the store, living at home. I had all this disposable income. I really couldn't go out yet because I was only 19. So basically, I started playing scratch-offs. And, you know, there's the gambler fallacy where if you buy so many, you're due or it's your turn and you're going to get one. And I was there and I bought $10 scratch-offs in a row. And there's a couple fallacies with lottery tickets is that, well, if you buy 3 out of 4, you're going to win on the 4th one. And if you don't win on 10 in a row, you're going to probably win on the next one. But think about this. This is 2003, 2002. I'm $100 in. And I lost on every single ticket. But there's 2 tickets left. And one of the game of fallacies is you never leave the last 2 tickets. I left them. Guy comes in, looks down, sees I've been playing some tickets, and, well, what's going on? Buys the last 2. First one, a loser. Second one, $250,000. That's how close I was. I was that close.
And this was like, what, probably 20 years ago?
Yeah, 2003.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 20 plus years ago.
$250,000.
I mean, it's like 400, 500 grand now.
Yeah, it'd been crazy money.
And for a guy your age at the time, 18.
I'd have been dead. I'd have bought a Ferrari or something stupid and wrecked into a tree.
I mean, everything happens for a reason.
I'm glad I didn't win.
but that's the ultimate, that's an example. That's like the prime example. Doug, that's a bonus story. Again, like last week, a bonus story for you. But Doug's story of the Vulture.
And there's people out there that people don't realize actually do this. They'll wait and watch somebody buy a bunch of tickets, lose on them, and then buy the next one. So because of that, it's created the camper. The camper's scared that if they're playing tickets, they want to make sure they get all of them until they decide to quit because they don't want some guy to come in and vulture the winner. It happens a lot.
It's a whole thing. I mean, gambling in general, all the different gambling. I mean, you see it all the time in poker. You know, you got guys that they wear the same thing the next day, no matter what. No matter if they sat there sweating for 13 hours, they don't care. It doesn't matter. They're gonna spray some more, whatever cologne they got, and they're gonna go out there in the same outfit. I've seen guys do it like on TV. I've seen guys that they've said like it's like their 4 straight day wearing the same outfit because they feel like it's a lucky thing. I'm not to that extent. I mean, I knock on wood and all that kind of stuff, which I don't know if that matters or not. But like, I'm not going to wear the same thing every day at a poker tournament.
Wait, you're not?
No.
I'm in. That's what I'm doing. No, but let us know in the comments. Have you ever had this happen to you? Do you know any legendary vultures that swoop in on your rule and take that winning ticket?
And now, the origin story, the fall of the Fleming Company. For you retailers out there, you retail guys out there, especially the old school retail guys, people might not realize this. Before really Walmart became king, before all these like mega retailers took over, independents like us still ruled the company, still ruled the country in retail as far as a whole until about the late 90s. Independent retailers were still like a big deal. We're still a strong force. We still have a voice. But like back then, it was a big business. And the wholesaler that really was the one that bought up all the other wholesalers and created the buying power for these retailers to be successful was Fleming Corporation. They were out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, and they had like 25 distribution centers in the United States. Dad, actually, we talked about Dad being a national sales manager. He was a national sales manager for them in the specialty foods division before he came back to Pennsylvania. We lived in Wisconsin, and that was a big deal, the Fleming Corporation. And then they got into some they extended terms to Kmart. Kmart went bankrupt, stuck them for $2 billion. I still remember the number. They stuck them for $2 billion. And then some other bad things happened, some mismanagement at the top. They were a little too top heavy, and they collapsed on us. And it was like 3 years after Dad had bought the store, first 2 stores, 3 stores. We had Spring Church at that time, the little store in Spring Church, PA, Kittanning and Leechburg, and Dad bought the stores. And then 3 or 4 years later, it was like 2000 and I want to say it was like 2003, 2004. Fleming collapsed.
It was a dark, and I was still in high school, but it was a dark time. And what people don't realize, when you lose your, like, whether you choose or not choose to lose your wholesaler, I mean, it could cost a company that our size anywhere from $100,000 to $200,000 to transfer to a new warehouse. And that includes all your special items, everything, price differences, all of it. It's a big deal.
No, it's a huge deal. And as a result of that, it almost cost us our business because we were still a young company and we were still trying to actually learn how to fully utilize and maximize Fleming's program. And as a retailer, like every wholesaler that supplies you, they have a certain way of doing business and a certain strengths and weaknesses. And you have to kind of learn what they are and take those into your store, get your people trained on it, and make sure you're maximizing their program so you can be as efficient as possible so you can be competitive and make a living at the same time. And we weren't, because their program, we were so used to their program because Dad knew their program. He actually sold their program. When they left and then we were scampering around for people, we finally got in with AWI, which was a co-op, and we didn't know their program. And to be fair, I don't think they did a very good job. I mean, they're not here anymore. They didn't do a very good job of communicating the program. So we had to learn on our own. And while we're learning, and the world of business, anybody that's been running a business or owning a business, when somebody says you're learning in business, that means you're losing a lot of money.
Oh, no, you're struggling. It was always funny. Remember John Wayne movies?
Oh, yeah.
Remember how, I think it wasn't The Shooter. What was the one where his sons were in it? And one's like a tech guy and has like all these cool guns and motorcycles.
Oh, yeah.
And then the other son's like this like rugged mustache cowboy.
Yeah.
Calls him daddy, punches him. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
But then the one line is like this: "You never trust a man with 2 first names." The man in that company was Chris Michael. 2 first names. I'm not saying everybody with 2 first names is like that, but it's just funny how ironic it was.
No, and he was another guy that was always going around, oh, yeah, you can trust me. I'm honest. You can trust. Any guy or girl that is constantly reminding you how honest and how much you can trust them. Honestly, I don't know if I've ever. Honestly, I don't know if I can remember a time where I had to tell somebody I was honest. In my opinion, you're honest until you're not honest. So, like, if I'm meeting somebody and I say, oh yeah, no, I'm honest, you can trust me. Like, an honest person doesn't think about not being honest.
Justification is the first step in lying. Telling you, it happens.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, live and learn. We get better every time.
Man, that went dark there.
But boom, it's time for the corporate word of the week, and it's evergreen content. Doug and I both learned that together this week. My wife, Brandy, who is in the corporate world and feeds us a lot of the corporate words, she actually was working with us on a project, and we saw corporate, we saw evergreen content. I'm like, Doug and I both is like, did you mean to say ever-growing content?
I thought she was pitching to like a gum company, like Spearmint over Evergreen. I'm like, what are we talking about?
I thought maybe it was like a mistype or something. I thought it was supposed to be like ever-growing or ever-glowing, maybe. I don't know. Like I'm like evergreen. Like I thought it was just like, here it was intentional.
No, it's a really cool background. So. Basically, it comes from the word, back in the early days of like TV and production, they realized that like whether it's a Friday night football game, whether it was, the elections on Tuesday, whatever it may be, it has a shelf life and it's perishable.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. And it makes sense, from that standpoint of evergreen. So, we've been creating evergreen content since we started creating content. We didn't realize it. But a lot of our content is... it's meant to get the message across, but it's also meant to entertain.
And it's the difference between like milk. So if you have milk in the store, it's perishable. After a certain period of time, it's cooked. But like a can of Spam, that thing can sit there for 20 years and still be edible. The content that you make is if it has legs, meaning that you want it to be able to be viewable 10 years from now, still have the same impact when you get the momentum of your traffic. And so the idea of Evergreen is that the content is basically usable over a long period of time, doesn't have a shelf life.
Yeah, and that's something to think about for anybody out there that's marketing themselves. Honestly, we talk about this, everybody out there, even if you're not in business, you're marketing yourself. So when you think about content, don't think about it like the milk. Think about it like a canned good, like something that lasts for a long, long time. Gallon of distilled water. Think of it like when you produce something for yourself personally and you put it on the internet, on the web, on social media. Think about it in terms of this isn't just going to be tonight. This is going to be forever. So keep that in mind. Tip from the field, as Dad would say. Keep that in mind out there when you're putting stuff on content, and also when you're marketing. Try to get mileage out of your marketing. So like that's what we do. Like we do put some stuff that's like obviously this weekend only specific, that kind of stuff. This deal this week, but like a lot of the stuff that we put out now is about really celebrating our people working for us, celebrating the people that support our business, celebrating our businesses in general, creating like a historical log for people to view and family members to view, generations from now and look back and see. Like it's meant to be evergreen. It's meant to be every year just keeps on growing.
It's always green, baby.
It's always green.
And, guys, it was the same point. Make sure you stop spending time trying to put gallons of milk on the shelf. Go out there for those canned goods. Go for that spam. It's a chance to grow and a chance to have everlasting social media content. And the most important part, you build a community.
Speaking of building a community, a guy that's built a community in 3 different major forms of business. 2 on the racetrack and 1 just like us, ground up, making it happen. John Thompson, an interview with John Thompson coming at you right now. Remember the thrill of your first childhood game, maybe tic-tac-toe? Genuine Pennsylvania Skill Games recaptures that excitement, offering easy-to-play, win-every-time experiences at your favorite local spots. Imagine a game where a little skill consistently turns credits into cash prizes. A game you can enjoy with others and even help them win. No need to just imagine. Genuine Pennsylvania Skill Games, championed by the PA Skill Alliance, are real. Go to paskillalliance.org for more information.
Everyone, if you spend time around Western Pennsylvania, you know there's 2 things going on. One, during the week, you have hardworking people out there, and on the weekends, you have high-octane motorsports right here in Western Pennsylvania, guys. That's right. This week, we're talking to John Thompson, and we're talking about the dirt track.
Talking about the dirt track, but we're also just talking about family business and legacy in general. We've known John. We've had conversations with John. He gets us, and the reason he gets the mental instability is because he himself, like us, is second generation, baby. And he grew up in it, and he's been around it, and he's lived it, and he's breathed it, and he's had the phone laying on his chest at 4 a.m., wondering what's going to happen at 6. He gets it. We're with us today. John Thompson, owner of Thompson Scrap, owner of Lernerville Speedway, Western Pennsylvania tradition, and we're going to dabble in the horse industry a little bit too with John. John, welcome to the cast. We've been wanting you to be a guest. Thanks for coming today.
Thank you guys for having me. I've been so excited about this since you guys let me graciously be here. It's an awesome thing. You guys run a great show, and you're great friends, greatest friends on the planet right here. The Sprinkles family is just unbelievable people, good people. Ask anybody that had one of their Hoagies in Victory Lane, they'll tell you. Best hoagie in the world, and they taste so good right after a big win. Thank you.
Well,
guys
right back at you, John. Like Patrick Swayze said in the movie Ghost, ditto, man, ditto.
Ditto, there you go.
Right, you don't know this. Fun fact, so we love Lernerville. We sponsor Gary Lyle race car for the late models. We have a great box to give away every week. But did you know that the winners every week get a big, massive Sprinkles hoagie?
You know what? I just learned that from John, actually. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's a big factor. Believe me, them guys, they'll push extra hard for that hoagie because it's that good.
Well, any race fan, this is amazing. This is mind blowing because how cool is that? Because growing up as a kid, man, you saw, you know, the Kyle Petty up there, or no, Richard Petty up there with the mustache knocking down the beer, you know, and then later it was Milk. Remember, it was Milk. And so we're the Hoagie. Are you kidding me? I didn't know
That's
that.
it. More burger iced tea and a sprinkles hoagie, baby. It's it.
Oh, that's
It's
so
the good
freaking
stuff.
cool, man.
It's
That's so freaking
good.
cool.
In victory lane to boot. Yeah.
Wow.
In fact, we get a lot of heartache or a lot of requests. How come we don't have sprinkled hoagies in one of our stands? It's because they reserve that only for the winners in victory lane. It's a special thing. So, and it's made with sprinkle love. So, you know, you got to get it in victory lane. It's earned. It's not given away.
You got to wonder, does the winner of the race have to share with the pit crew? They're probably like, you know what? I call the end piece.
Absolutely. In fact, I've seen the driver hide the hoagie in the driver's seat so he didn't have to share it. It's so good.
Oh, that's so amazing. I mean, that's the best. I didn't know that, man.
You guys have no idea how much you touch everybody in that place with all the stuff you do. You know, the Sprinkle family is the greatest people on the earth. You know, they care about the community. They care about the individuals. They never tell somebody no when they come for help. You guys are just awesome people. And I'm very proud to say you're my friends and supporters of the racetrack. So thank you. And you support us in our other stuff with the scrap metal and the cardboard and all the other ways too. Yeah, so I can only someday say I'm trying to be as good as one of the Sprinkle brothers. Yeah.
Well, believe me, man, if we end up getting into half the stuff that you and your family are in, we'll be very happy. But I got to ask you, like this is I love these conversations because I'm sitting here talking to a dude that you get it. You get the right before you're ready to host a race, you know, you and the brother just going at it. Like there's times Doug and I thought we were going to come to fisticuffs, 10 minutes before we were supposed to go on the podcast. And then we realized, hey, we got to get our shit together for this. And we get calmed down enough. Maybe the first couple interactions are like, okay, let's go. But we calm into it. Like, you and your family, like the dynamic, like how does it work? Do you guys have any, we haven't developed real ground rules yet as far as Sunday conversations, what's appropriate around the table. We just we're very emotional. Most people would think that I'm the calm one, but I'm actually more emotional. Doug hasn't calmed me down. Like, how does it work in your family? Is it, when you guys are getting ready for a race or getting ready for a big deal, contract, anything like that? Like, is there roles in the Thompson family, or you guys just go for it?
You know that I don't wear sunglasses because my eyes hurt. It's because those blows, leave marks sometimes. So if you see me wearing sunglasses, it's mostly from my brother Doug. You know what I mean? But mostly we don't step on each other's toes. If I handle something, I handle it. If they handle it, they handle it, and I don't get involved in it. Not that I don't get involved, because I'll help any positive way I can. But I never tell them that you're doing this wrong, or because it doesn't help. You know what I mean? We all do real well together and supporting each other, and that's what we tried to do my entire life. The family stuff is there was all the male in the Thompson family would go on a trip every year. It started with my dad in the 60s. We all load up for a week and go somewhere, and it's been a continuing thing to this day, and it helps to. I remember my son crying when it was over, coming home. He said, "I can't believe it's over already." And that bonding of that week is huge.
That's the best, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've been all over the world together.
Doug and I started a couple years ago a similar thing. We started a tradition. We're hoping that our sons get into it, and the World Series of Poker. We go and we play in the World Series of Poker. Not the big main event. We haven't gotten to that point yet. Maybe someday. But we pick an event that matches
So you have a
everything.
little bit of passion for. Absolutely.
And we go, and it's the whole outing. It's the whole outing. It's to travel together. The ceiling of the plane, knowing that we're going away, getting a mental break, and just enjoying the time together. So we just started that. Let me ask you this: for the Thompson family, what's some of the destinations that you went to, or some of the notable trips dating from the '60s? I mean, that's a crazy lineage of time.
Pretty much all the 48, the lower 48. We did Alaska. We did South Africa one year. We did Italy. We were talking about maybe Peru, go down to Machu Picchu. I have a nephew, Dougie. Most people all know Dougie. He don't let you not know him. But it's been a destination he wanted to do all his life. So we may end up doing that here in the next few years. But, we've lost a couple brothers and a couple sisters now. And, you feel the father time coming after you. So you think you got to get this stuff done if we're ever going to do it. So it's where we're at with that.
What was your favorite trip out of all them you can remember from the time you were with your dad and he was running the show? Like, what's the one you look back, you say that was the it?
My dad died when I was 17, so a lot of that is I'm 63 now, so a lot of that is blurry to me. But the trip that seems to stick out with all of us is we went to Arizona, to Slide Rock, Arizona. And we spent 2 days sliding down Slide Rock. It's a natural slide. And when you sit at the top of it, the water builds up behind you. And once it builds up enough, it shoots you down the slide. It's just unbelievable. You would think this was a man-made thing, and it's not. It's all natural. And as the water goes through the canyon, it cut deeper and deeper. And then it gets deeper and deeper. And the walls would come up, and there's little ledges, and you'd go up there and jump down into the water. And it's a really, but Arizona's really, like Winslow, Arizona has a haunted hotel, and we had dinner there and hung out there for a while. And it was scary, and especially the kids were younger then, and it was good stuff. That seems to be the trip that we all remember the most and talk about the most. But they were all good. And the older we get, the less the fights happen too. You know what I mean? The younger we were, you could see us pulling over in the motorhome rocking. But now it's we're just looking for a good place to eat. It seems to be more of a concern now than anything else. Good food. It's good stuff though.
That is good stuff. I mean, that's magic.
Yeah.
I want to go back a little bit, John. Growing up in the family business, was it just your parents, or was it like a cousin consortium with a couple uncles and aunts?
Well, the way the scrap metal, and the scrap metal is what pays all the bills for everything, and always has. My father was in the Second World War, and he got stuck in the Aleutian Islands. He got lost in the Aleutian Islands, and when they finally found him and got him off the island, he weighed 80 pounds. He was 6'4". He weighed 80 pounds. And they put him in a hospital in Chillicothe, Ohio, and they discharged him from the Army. And then when he got out of there and he went back to Allegheny Steel for his job, they said, you were discharged a year ago. You don't have a job here now. You needed to be here a year ago. And they didn't care that he was in the hospital. So what he started to do was go around with a pickup truck, picking up scrap and selling it. And that was the basis of it. And then he, scrap metal, which goes from being worth something to nothing, depending on the economy, went to nothing. He started tearing down houses and reclaiming the lumber. And he had a store on Bull Creek Road. A lot of people remember he started to buy truck wrecks and things like that, and he would sell it there. And it was actually a pretty good business. But when he went from the scrap metal to that, my grandfather kept buying the scrap metal at a one-car garage that he was in. And then when my brother Teddy graduated from high school, he went there. If you work for your grandfather, you don't do nothing wrong. You know what I mean? Oh, that's the great. And your dad, you do nothing right. So he ended up with grandpa because, man, everything I do is the best that's ever been done. And then when my brother Jim got out of school, he went to work with Teddy. And then when I got out of school, I went to, but actually in between that too, I mean, while we were going to school, we were working at the scrap metal, and it overnight success, 50 years later. Yeah. You know what I mean? It always kind of cracked up. Boy, you guys did really good so quick. Yeah, it only took 50 years. Yeah. All of us working around the clock. But it's been a great ride. I don't have any regrets as far as being with my brothers and stuff. They're the greatest men on earth. I love them to death. Yeah. I'll beat their butt regular, but well, I'm sure you guys understand it. Yeah.
Oh no, you know what? I can say whatever the heck I want to my brother. I can threaten to kill him, but if you say one thing out of line, you got me to deal with, man.
Absolutely.
Guy's a cougar.
Yeah.
So a little bit about behind the scenes. We know that with the data centers and everything happening, the copper's gone through the roof and continuing. Everybody's now pre-buying a lot of electronics so that they're afraid of the tariff coming later in the year. And so we're seeing that. Growing up, with your brothers in the business, how did you guys start defining rules as far as is there a guy that orders equipment? Is there a guy that does the maintenance? Is there a guy that does the bills? How do you guys find your roles in the company? And is it like a boardroom kind of situation, or is it like Ryan and I, we're just happy to get 5 minutes without people yelling at us? We get together and say, hey, there's all the things you got to do today. You do this. I'll do that.
It is broke up, but mostly, excuse me. Equipment. If you need a piece of equipment, we may talk about it, and then you go ahead and negotiate and buy it. You know what I mean? My brother Jim runs a ferris yard with an iron fist, and the guy works day and night. Hard working, unbelievable, and pretty much we stay away from what he handles, because when you start stepping on toes, you start messing deals up and stuff. Negotiations are a lot of bluffing and different things like that. And if you're negotiating something and you told them, we don't really need it, but maybe if you come down to this number, I can. And then he talks to your brother, and your brother says, "Oh yeah, we got to have that thing." Your whole negotiations went right out the window. So you know what I mean? It's you got to mind your own business. I'm sure you guys have to understand that.
Totally understand. It's funny. I didn't see this till just now. You guys do so much stuff, but I'm picturing it's almost like Pawn Stars. You guys are there, some dude comes rolling in there, calls you with this whatever, and you gotta go through the dance a little bit.
It absolutely is. There's a good bit of going through the dance. So mostly I handle aluminum. And mostly what I do is trade the aluminum in for a company and some stainless, and then everybody will handle some of it for their own accounts. Different, like my nephew Rubus handles certain accounts, and my nephew Ted handles certain accounts, and my brother Doug does, and I do, and he'll come to me and say, hey, I need a price on this kind of aluminum. Can you get me one? And I'll get him one, but I'll never talk to his account. You know what I mean? That's his account. And when you start doing that, then you start having problems. So that's basically, it's 10 to your knitting. And that's basically what, I'm sure that if you start negotiating produce and it was what Doug was working on, there'd be problems, So you have to.
Oh, absolutely. Right? Yeah. No, if Doug quotes something, if Doug quotes something, I'm talking to you and you say, Doug quoted me this. In my mind, it could be the most ridiculous price I've ever heard to be quoted, and I'll just be like, "Oh yeah, no, that's the price." I might come to him afterwards and be like, "What the heck you talking about, buddy?" Yeah, we're not running a soup kitchen. Come on.
Exactly. What do you mean free freight? You gave them free freight. We don't have no drivers that work for free. We don't have no trucks that run off of air. You know what I mean? That's
you say that behind the scenes. Yeah,
absolutely. That's the fight.
Unified front up top, though.
Hey, so being growing up in the business and seeing, you have to see some pretty crazy artifacts. What's some of the craziest things you've seen over the years come into the yard? And question, being that there's brothers and competition there, has there ever been a time where you're like, hey guys, make sure you say that for me. And they melt it
Oh
down or
yeah,
something.
my brother Doug has a rule for me. I'm allowed to keep something for 2 weeks. If I pull something out of the scrap and I don't do something with it for 2 weeks, he throws it back in the scrap because I'll save everything. I'm going to need that. I'm going to need that. And it was from a time when we had limited space that Doug gave me that rule. But we got more space now, but he never relinquished that rule. It's gone. Yeah, because I'm going to need everything at some point or another.
So through that though, has there ever been like some crazy like Civil War can or anything that came in? You're just like, I can't believe we're gonna scrap
we
this.
all live on a farm in Natrona Heights. Me and Ted and Jim and Doug. And on that farm, we have a cannon, a World War II 7mm German cannon. It's huge. It weighs like 35,000 pounds. It was in the park in Trenton. And we all remembered as a kid, whoever had the biggest guts would go all the way out on the end of the barrel. And they called us up and said, look, we're going to cut this up for scrap. How big do you want to cut? We said, no, don't cut that. We'll come down. And we went down with equipment and loaded it up and hauled it out. And, our goal always was to put it together. And recently I had our welder guy looking at it even because I thought it would be great at the racetrack on like big rig night or something like that to put it all back together and be able to pull it around the track or something like that. But I've not gotten to that yet, but I'm working on it. But that's a pretty cool thing, the cannon.
That's amazing.
That's unbelievable. I mean, that's crazy that it came that close to getting destroyed.
The story behind the cannon is pretty great too. It was on the top of the mountain. What they were was tank hunters, 7mm, and they could lower them down and aim at a tank and take it out. But they actually put these on the mountain at Monte Cassino. You ever hear of that? It was a monastery on the mountain, and the Germans held out there for a real long time because they had these cannons up there, and they held off the Allies with that. And then they brought it back here to use it for selling war bonds. And then they put it in the park, and we got it. But it's the Devil's Brigade climbed up the backside of the mountain, a sheer cliff, and overtook it. And nobody thought people could come up that side. And there's a real good story to it. It's a lot of history to it. Good stuff.
I've seen that before. It's an amazing story. That's crazy. It's crazy that you have a piece of that story.
Thank God they wanted to cut it up. We told them. Sometimes when I drive by and the weeds are all up and I got to clean them off and stuff, I should have let them cut it up. But I'm glad I didn't. Yeah, it's good stuff.
I'm glad they came to you and not somebody that just was looking for a buck. I mean, I'm glad they came to you.
Me too.
And
I still got the biggest gut, so I can still get to the end of it. Yeah.
That's awesome. So switching a little bit into the track, it's amazing the shift from that business. How did you get involved in the track originally? And what made you decide, what, guys, we're going to take this track and we're going to make it great. And now it's one of the most recognizable dirt tracks in the country. And everybody looks forward to the event coming out, which is one of my favorite events, Firecracker.
Yeah, Firecracker's pretty awesome. And I wish I could take credit for that, but Don Martin definitely had all the vision on that. He that always was a fairground or something like that, but he had the vision for the racetrack. My friends ran it. Gary Rich took over running the place, and he was a friend of mine, and he sold me a box to it, or you could buy a box. About the box tickets. And I got a box, and then I started going there. I've never really been, even to this day, I'm really not a race fan. I'm not, I can sit and watch a little bit of it, but I got to go make sure the concessions are working right and making sure that everybody's in place. That's kind of like my thing. Like, I have a girlfriend, and she lives and dies racing, and it just drives her crazy that I can just, in the middle of the race, run off to worry about a ticketing problem. You know what I mean? But it is a great place, and there's a lot of history there, big time history there. And we try to pay close attention to the history and honor it, because there's a lot of people that's their whole world, and it's a great thing as far as, like, your family stuff is good. Well, that's the same thing, because race cars aren't a group of drunks. They're either families or close friends. I mean, people associate that with drinking a lot. and it's not. It's mostly pretty wealthy people, and that's what they do. And his family works on getting a car together. You know, to race a car on Friday, you have to work on it all week long to get it ready to go. And I know a lot of guys that when their kid got old enough, he left, they quit racing because they only had the car there. So that was what them and their son or their daughter and son did during the week. And it keeps them out of problems. It gives you something really good to be focused on. So the cars are families or groups of friends, and they're really good people. And I've seen people that on the track want to kill each other, and then come in and the guy says, I forgot my wrench. I can't get this off. And here's somebody running by that they wouldn't talk 10 minutes. They were getting him a wrench so he could fix his thing or give him a tire so he can get back out there to race. You know, it's just good people all the way around, really good people. And I'm so grateful that I'm involved in it, to get to know these people. And, you know, and it's so many people that it's in so many personalities. It's great fun. Yeah, good stuff.
I'm glad you brought that up. You know, it's funny. People think of motorsports like tractor pulling or dirt track racing. They don't realize it's a massive flex to have a car that actually goes around the track. I mean, if you think about like, especially Firecracker Weekend, you see these $1 million toy haulers, the motorhome, the girlfriend's motorhome, the girlfriend's motorhome. They all pull in together and they race, but like that might be one of 3 cars they have with them, plus 4 engines and everything else. And what, like a late model car is 100,000 plus
I
now,
put a
isn't
sign up on the chalkboard where they set all the races up, and it says, my fear is that if I die, my wife sells my car parts for what I told her I paid for them. You know what I mean? Because it's so much money. I don't know if you guys know Eric Smith. His family owns Jack Ford, and he owns property on the other side of us. He's always been really a great neighbor. And he talked about when he races a sprint car. He raced a sprint car for like 10 years, something like that. He says, I was like a heroin addict for it. He says, and I wish now I can find the money just to live that I found to put in that car. He said, I found it. I don't know where, but I always found it. So it's definitely addicting. Yeah, those guys, and it's a day and night job too. Yeah, good stuff.
I think it's funny what you said, John, about, you know, you're not emotionally connected to it. And actually, that was going to be one of my questions to you was, you know, if you're passionate about something, how do you run it as a business? Don't get me wrong. I love to eat and I love steaks and I love groceries and I grew up in the business and all that. But like, you know, when it comes closing time and I, you know, the call shut down for the day, the last thing I want to do is go to a grocery store. So like, you know, I wouldn't like buy that as my hobby fun thing. So it makes sense that you're able to run it and you're able to operate it and you're able to own it because you're not like emotionally invested.
That's only in the racing part of it. I'm big emotionally invested in the people and the other stuff. When I go to the track Sunday morning after Firecracker, I get a big depression. You know, to be serious, I like everybody's gone. You know, seriously, it's, you know, because you know that day after Firecracker is as much work as any day up to it, because it's a giant mess to be got it cleaned up you know. But I do get and I look forward to seeing all the people that I fought with all Firecracker week. You know, but it is just great people. It really is. It's great people. Yeah, you know, I'm sure you have the same. You know, you look forward to some of the people that come in the stores, like, you know, and you get to know them. And a lot of people that I knew coming in the scrapyard are gone now after, you know, I've been there, you know, 40 plus years, and I miss them. I miss the characters that come in and, you know, cause you problems for no reason, and, you know, but then when they don't come around for, you know, no more, it's like, wow, I miss them.
Oh, we can relate completely. There's a great song, and maybe you're aware of it. I'm a huge Elvis Presley fan, and there's a great song Elvis covers, and it's called "The Fair is Leaving Town," and it covers the exact emotion you just said about, like, you know, you go through this like war. I mean, we experienced it at Oktoberfest. We're huge, you know, sponsors, and we help out with the up at Kittanning, the Fort Armstrong Folk Festival, and it's the same thing. Like I ran the food up there, and you'd be there on Thursday, and some guy selling sausages coming up to you and saying, calling you everything in the book, pointing his finger in your chest, saying, how can you let him sell sausage for that, and I'm selling for this, I'm gonna lose money, you're causing me to lose money. Like, but then come Sunday, when it's closing up, man, you're hugging each other, you're borderline crying, you're sad that it's ending. Like, it's such a crazy emotional roller coaster events in general. And Doug kind of threw us into it, but I can relate entirely. When Oktoberfest was about ready to end, man, there was like a sadness, like,
you worked so hard up to it, and then you executed it, and then afterward, it's all that pressure, all that stuff, and it's all gone, but you miss it. Absolutely.
But the pressure and the stuff is what I mean. That's why our biggest Oktoberfest was our partnership with you, and it was such a great event. But it was funny, man. After that, we're like, we can't do that. We don't have what it takes to do that every year, man. So my hat's off to you for doing what you do every week.
Oktoberfest was one of my favorite events there. I wear the hoodie all the time. You know what I mean? It was a great event.
And it's amazing. I thought I knew about events. Like, I'm like, I know about events. I can run an event. Then I met the Thompson family. I'm like, oh, geez, I'm still an amateur.
These guys are pros, man.
They're like, you didn't think about this? You didn't think about this? I'm like, no, you didn't think about this? I'm like, come on, man. you guys are like scolding me the whole time. I'm like taking notes. I'm like, no, he's talking about that earlier, I think. But no, it was an amazing experience, and you guys were so gracious. I mean, for those who don't know, we've had Oktoberfest. We started a little farm. We went to Saxburg for a couple of years. Got in a little bit of tussle with the old Germans there. They were angry, real angry. So then we decided, hey, you know what? We're gonna move it out to Lernerville, and it was a great event. It was amazing, beautiful weekend. I mean, we had a full carnival there, which is amazing. And then everybody was working so hard. It was awesome, great time. Sold a bunch of beer. Everybody was super happy. And it was a cool experience to see from your guys' point of view behind the scenes. And people don't understand the professional execution you got to have to make all that go.
People don't realize it, but you're in the grocery business, so you understand it. The margins are nothing. You're sitting on the other side of the bar. You think, wow, they're getting $4 or $5 every beer that goes over. But when at the end of the night you think that's it, how can it only be that? All that beer costs, all the guys that we paid to do it, all the light, all the electric, all the gas, it's like, wow, we did all that for that? That's all? You know what I mean? You got to love it because you're not going to make a lot of money at it, that's for sure. Racing is the same way.
You guys are like a Dutton family of Western Pennsylvania. You're like, we made enough money to race.
Exactly. Yeah,
One more season,
exactly, baby. Yeah. We'll be able to race next year. Exactly. I'll tell you this: we took a pounding on the racetrack last year, and it's a good thing we had the other scrap metal and the other business to carry us because that one really hurt. We lost half our races last year, more than half our races to rainouts, and it's just and the equipment breaking down and all those problems. It was a rough year. That was the worst season we've had as long as we've owned a track.
Well, I felt for you, John. The reason I knew because we obviously huge partnership. We love our partnerships. Honestly, I'm not just saying this because you're here. Like as far as the partnerships we do, there is not another partnership we do. We were just talking about this. That like it's such a little sneak preview for our fans out there. Symbiotic situation because you guys provide us with a great amount of exposure and then the tickets. And we use the tickets for the ones that aren't used amongst family and friends as giveaways, weekly giveaways to help promote our store, execution of store promotion. So we had all these great giveaways and people were winning and then it would get rained out. So then people would be like, oh, we want to, we'd try to help them. Oh, we'll give you a future event. But it got to the point we were like trying to these were given away and then these were given away. And it was a mess. And I'm thinking, man, what a bummer, of a year just weather wise. And it seemed like I don't know, from your perspective, I'm sure you can relate, but like, it seemed like for me, there were so many weeks where it was like absolutely gorgeous,
Yeah,
Monday
right.
through Wednesday, when everybody's working, and then
Oh,
all of
I
a sudden
cried every time we
Thursday,
tried to race.
yeah, is that just me or was it like that?
I'll tell you what's even terrible or even worse is that it doesn't rain because the rule is we don't rain out unless we actually rain. So all the drivers are there, all the help is there, and no fans show up, and we do race. So we still have to pay all those purses and all those people, and there's no revenues to pay them. So it's just they just eat that one. And I'll tell you, you guys are great partners, and it means a lot to me that you say what you do, that you're happy with it. Because me and the people who work there, you know, Greg Gobble, the manager, and all the other guys, try real hard to do everything we can to help the sponsors like you. Because if you don't do what you do, it's like you say, if it wasn't for you, there would be no me. And it's absolutely the same thing. You totally understand it. Yeah, so if I'm doing something wrong, let me know, and I'll holler at Gobble.
We love Guy and Tasha. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. You know, when Ryan and I started playing around with the idea of tickets, and I think it's the first year we might have sponsored with you guys. Or traditionally, we tried the Penguin tickets, we tried the Pirate tickets. Now Ryan, you know, he's a big Skeens guy, so he's going to all the games now. It's weird. There used to be all these Pirate ticket giveaways. There's none, but it's weird. It's so weird. I still get the bill in the mail, but it's weird. It's like, hey, this is half your advertising fee. I'm like, wait.
I'm probably less of a Pirate fan than I am of a race. I'm definitely less of a. But I force myself to go to one game a year. You know, because I remember my dad loved baseball, so out of respect for him, I go to one game a year, and I don't think I've ever sat through the whole game. Yeah, so, you know, they got good ice cream up on Mount Washington. Let's run up there. You know.
Find some obscure place. Well, it's funny. I'm glad you said that because last time I went to a Pirates game, Pepsi gave us free tickets to the booth, and it was up there with like the fancy booth, and it was super nice. They had it catered, and so Lindsay and I get there a little late, and I'm like, "Oh, this is nice." You know, I start watching the game, like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get some snacks." And I'm a food guy, but there was some guy just mowing down Dorito chips over the food, and I'm like, nope, we're gonna go watch something else. And so we did. We left and we went. I think we went to the casino or something. Like, went around. But one of the things I wanted to say though is if you look at the performance of when we post your tickets as a giveaway versus any other sport, including Big Pittsburgh, Penguins, Steelers, whatever, you guys 4-1 outperform. That's how much
I'm
people
gonna tell you
love
this though, it could be the area you're in too, because the people of Saxonburg and the surrounding towns here has been extremely good to. I mean, these people love racing, and they've been extremely good to the racetrack. I mean, other places where they have racetracks, they have a lot of problems with the local people. And if somebody just moves in the neighborhood and they put something on Facebook about the racetrack, they'll get bombarded with people saying, "Hey, it was here long before you got here. You can go." You know, and it's heartwarming. It's great, and I hope that I'm a good neighbor because I'll do anything for one of my neighbors to keep everybody happy, and you know that's an important thing is to be accommodating and you know appreciate and do things back to know you inconvenience these people sometimes. So do something that helps them. Like most tracks get the 50-50. Well, the fire hall gets the 50-50 at the racetrack. And they've told me it's a significant amount. It's a good thing for the area. And when we have big races, Oberg and Payne United let us use their parking lots. And we charge for those parking. And they always donate the money to the fire hall or to the police or something like that. So even though the people around us are good to us, they're good to the town too. So it's a good thing all the way around. You know, so and I work real hard, and I want to keep that too. It's you know, it means a lot to me that when somebody sees me, they smile and not like, oh, you know what I mean? Seriously, it does. It means a lot.
We get it, man. We get it.
You might not know. So for those who don't know, this episode is the first ever we actually had a guest in the studio here. John's in the studio. So John, you think about where we're less than a quarter mile away from the track here?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I bought this house, I was like, man, I really like this house, but it's pretty close to the track, and I'm not sure if I like racing. Can you knock like 25 off?
Did it work?
No, it worked.
I'm glad to help.
So the new neighbors,
Doug owes me
Yeah,
$20.
yeah.
that was great. And so like when the new neighbors come in, they're like, "Hey, is the racetrack bad?" I'm like, "What do you mean is it bad?" I'm like, "It's great." I'm like, literally, if you want, you can get in your front yard, lawn chair, cut off T-shirt, some nice jeans on, case of Busch Light, American flag, and say, "Let's go racing!"
And you can see the fireworks from here. I'm
And
sure
you can see the free
could.
fireworks.
I can do that, and I've done that from my wife and I've done that from our front porch. You know where we're at, right by where we used to have Oktoberfest, or not Oktoberfest, the smaller events. And we get on the front porch, and we've had drinks and listened to the race and seen the works going in the air. I mean, it is a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, I guess it never occurred to me, but you probably could listen to it on your FM radio.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you tune into that and you could hear, turn by turn announcing. That's awesome.
For the big races, Gary and the family all come to the house here. So it's like the pre-race thing. And they just walk over. I mean, it's literally that close. So from a family situation beyond buying the house, which is nice, it's great because it gets the family together for the races now that Gary, stays here, hangs out here, and then goes to the race. It's right there. It's super convenient.
Awesome. Well, if you ever need a ride back over or something, let me know. I'll jump in one of the golf carts and I'll bring you over. Drag you home.
I'm going to pick up on that. When I get that the bag of beer and go up to the booth up there, I might need a ride back.
That is a Lernerville unique thing, a bag of beer. Get a bag of beer, nice.
I haven't had a bag of beer. No,
it's usually a sprinkled or somebody's bag, plastic bag. They throw ice right in and give you your beer.
Oh, what a great!
It's amazing.
I don't know if I can handle a bag of beer. I might be in the bag.
Yeah, well, at the end of it,
I'm kind of a lightweight.
Practice makes perfect. Keep practicing.
There we go.
Genuine PA Skill Games, powered by Pacematic and supported by PA Skill Alliance, are dedicated to fostering growth throughout the Commonwealth. These games have been instrumental in supporting local fraternal orders, fire companies, bars, and retailers by keeping businesses operational, maintaining employment, and funding community projects. With over 5,000 communities across Pennsylvania, it's highly probable that Genuine PA Skill Games are working hard behind the scenes in your area. They ensure the vitality of our main streets, restaurants, bars, and stores. By supporting PASkillalliance.org, you are investing time in your community, employing your neighbors, and contributing to local nonprofits. Together, we can help keep Main Street open for business.
Everything you said, John, I mean, that's the recipe for success. I mean, people say it different ways, but exactly what you said, and actually there's some things that you said that I'm going to resonate because sometimes I'm not a very good squirrel, so to speak. I don't make sure there's enough nuts in the tree for the hard winter. So thanks for saying that. But I got to ask this question. We don't ask this enough, other business owners, and people are very interested in this. For John, John Thompson wakes up, all this responsibility, multiple businesses, tons of people, as you said, depending on you. What's a Tuesday look like? What time is the wake up? And how do you flow through your day? How do you kind of plan your day?
A lot of the stuff it's just Groundhog's Day. Same thing every morning at 6 o'clock. I have an autistic nephew, Doug, that calls me up and tells me what I got to do all day long. He said, "You go to the paper company, then you go back to the scrapyard, and then you go to racetrack," and he lays out my whole day. And he does that for every one of us at 6 in the morning too. So that call comes first.
That's great when you have a family like that just thinks about you.
It's a great way to start the day. And he always starts with "Good morning, Uncle John."
Oh, it's so cool. So John, we know respect for your time. Was there any questions you wanted to ask us today?
Well, there's just one that perplexed me a lot, and I hope you guys don't take it badly. How do guys like you end up with women that beautiful? Seriously. Watch them smoking.
Good bar lighting. I don't know.
I'm just thinking maybe good alcohol.
That might be more like it, man.
Well, I know. I always tell. It's funny. When Lindsay's family asked me the same question, and I said, guys, It's like it's back in the old days. She had the right tribe, but she had the wrong teepee. She was going for the Chiefs tent, ended up in the Warriors tent, and you know what? I happened to be there.
Wow.
I
You
had
got
a good.
lucky, let me tell you.
I had a good. Thank you very much, and our wives will really appreciate you saying that. I got lucky. I had a great friend of mine who was in my wedding. His wife, she was amazing. She kept trying to set me up, and I went on probably 3 different blind dates with people, and finally, my wife and I met at a blind date with her, and thankfully, you know, I don't know, the lighting or something, the alcohol must have been right.
You guys have great family. Your kids are awesome. Yeah, you know, I mean, just real nice, respectful, good kids. They're raising with values and respect. It's awesome stuff. You guys are, you know, I'm really proud to say you guys are my friends. Honest to God,
Well, right back at you. I mean, you handle yourself with class, and you said it like it's a family thing. Like it's a family thing. Like, you know, our parents, you know, we learned how do you treat a lady? How do you be respectful? You know, how should you act in public? I mean, we're very fortunate, you know, to have parents that guided us the right direction and taught us the way men should be. I mean, you know, we're very proud of how we act and proud of how we were taught to act, but you know, it takes a great teacher. So we luckily we hit the lottery with parents, and I'm sure the same with you. I mean, you didn't just show up as the John Thompson you are today.
My mother, you know, I told you my dad died when I was 17. Not that he didn't have a big effect on me, because a day never goes by that I don't think about him. But my mother, you know, raising 10 kids was, you know, tough as they come, and she loved every one of her kids and grandkids and great parents with passion. You know, like it's like you said, you know, you'll beat his butt, but nobody else can touch him.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, 100%. Well, John, it's been an absolute masterclass in having you today, talking about everything from family business to how to keep everybody in the line. Everybody just kind of does their own lane. It's going from the scrapyard to Lernerville and all over. There's so much more to cover. We're excited about having you later on this year to talk about the rest we missed today. But we thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been truly an honor, and we love what you do. But before you go, you know, guys, big shout out. There's a bunch of great events at Learnerville this year. Beyond the weekly races, they have the Big Firecracker 100, the Don Martin Silver Cup Memorial, the Yinzer 100, the Commonwealth Clash, and there's one I'm missing. What's one I'm missing, John?
The Stampede.
Stampede.
The last one of the year, and that's my favorite. Stampede is crazy.
Guys, don't miss it. Right here in Sarver, Pennsylvania. If you're across the state, you're looking for a great weekend right here. And they offer, if I believe, for the bigger events, you offer camping for over the weekend.
Right. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, John.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Please have me on again.
100%.
Oh, man, I'll tell you what. Any day, John. This is great, man. This is great.
How about one time we'll have a tag team? I'll bring my brothers here. Me
That
and my
would be
brothers. The Thompson brothers versus the Sprinkle brothers.
We could have Q&A back and forth.
Yes.
Absolutely. I love it.
I love that idea, man. We gotta get that. We gotta get that in the
camp out for community. Yes. That'd be perfect.
Yeah.
There you go.
No, brothers talking to brothers.
Yep.
Yes.
Then we'll clear out all the stuff in the garage and we'll have a tag team match.
No. You know what? It's funny with you, Doug, and I in a room, John. It reminds me. Did you ever watch the show Friends?
Very, very little.
Well, Tom Selleck. No, not Tom Selleck. The other guy that's like Tom Selleck. The guy that played. Tom Selleck played Magnum PI, right?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Tom Selleck was on Friends, and he was there, and Joey and Chandler. Tom Selleck and Chandler, one of the characters, they're fighting over the same girl. And he's like, we're going to go over there. And Joey, the other character, he's like, I don't think you and I going over there and get asses kicked is going to solve anything. Doug and I know what we're good at. And I have a feeling that the Thompson Sprackle bash would be very similar to, it'd be like fighting Tyson in the 90s, man.
But then we lock the steel door. Like, Ryan, you made him mad. Lock the steel door.
Seal the hatch.
Well, thank you again, though. Really appreciate it. And as always, guys, make sure you check them out, the Checked Out Podcast, and our friends at Lernerville Speedway. Don't want to miss it. As always, guys, we can't do it without you. Come and see us.
PA Skill players seek genuine PA Skill games. How can you tell the real from the imitation? The PA Skill Alliance offers a 4-step identification process to help you find genuine PA Skill games. 1. Check for logos. Does the machine display official Pennsylvania Skill Game logos? 2. Look for Powered by Pace-O-Matic. Is it Powered by Pace-O-Matic visible on the game's casing? 3. Assess business reputation. Is the game a reputable business? Genuine PA Skill games were not intended to be standalone businesses. 4. Examine game style. Is it a tic-tac-toe style game that offers the option to win every time? Help combat fraudulent skill games by exclusively playing genuine PA Skill Alliance supported games. Discover more at paskillalliance.org.
That was a great interview with our friend John Thompson. I mean, just what a great guy. Him and his family have achieved so much. It's really cool. But it is time for one of the best segments, one of my favorite segments, retail stories from around the world with Doug. And imagine this. Imagine, Doug, what would you do if you were up, it was late at night, you needed some milk, you were just hungry for oranges, and you went to the supermarket. You opened the door, the lights were off, you opened the door, you went in, nobody's there, but there's no alarms going off or anything like that. And so you go in and you hear some beeping, you see some scanning at the front, but nobody's there. And literally you're just going around the store getting items and you're just marching towards the front.
I feel like it's the opening scene to like the fog or the mist or some kind of a zombie apocalypse.
I mean, it's wild. It's wild, but it's actually happening right now.
Wait, so you're telling me there's a grocery store in Norway, where you walk in, use your credit card to enter the building, lights come on, do your shopping, and then check out yourself with no like physical people there.
Yeah, it's called Joker. I mean, which is funny, like, because it is kind of a joke. Like, I mean, can you imagine in a small town in Western Pennsylvania opening a store where people just go in and get whatever they wanted? I couldn't. But in Norway, it must be a different thing. But Joker's that's a funny word.
Dude, if I did that in my hometown, shout out to my people in Leechburg. They're great people. But there's some questionable characters. I think that literally everything would be stolen, including the shopping carts.
No, I mean, it's a wild situation. And the history of it is, you know, it's on the honor system. You know, it's Scandinavian logistics. I mean, we know the Scandinavians are very efficient. I mean, we know how IKEA works. They make you do all the work. They make you put all the sweat in. You know, they just supply you with literally this crazy thing with all these weird star wrenches and stuff, and you have to construct it. You have to do all the work. But anyways, side note. But anyways, you know, the Scandinavians, that's how they do things. They're very efficient. So in their minds, they're like, wait a minute. We don't want to have people. We don't need to have people waiting on people. People can just come in and get their stuff and leave. Like, but because of Scandinavian culture, they're very honest people. So it plays well there. I'd challenge them to come over to some of the more, I'd challenge them to open 5 locations in Gary, Indiana and see what happens.
Poor Gary, Indiana getting railed there.
Well, no offense. I mean, literally, it was on the charts for the highest murder rate in the country for like 10 straight years.
Allegedly.
Well, I mean, actually, not allegedly. Like, really.
Rough place.
Gary, Indiana. Oh, yeah. Like,
no, I've heard of it.
Yeah, you go south from Chicago. You go south from Chicago. You go through what a lot of people consider rough, Capone's old area, the south area of Chicago where the White Sox play. You creep along the lake, it gets even rougher. You creep along the lake, it gets even rougher. And then all of a sudden you meet this like connection with Indiana, where the roughest part of Indiana meets the roughest part of Illinois. Everybody forces all that wild bunch, and they all form one area together. It's called Gary, Indiana.
The collective. Well, no, but back to Norway, though. This place is awesome. Obviously, it's a really cool, like, local corner store. Some of the laws in Europe are a little bit different from here, and so it's under 1,000 square feet. And so what they did is they created this awesome opportunity that basically their people work during the day, but then at nighttime, it basically runs itself. You just walk in, do your thing, and then every once in a while, if they think there's an issue, they have a red alert where they basically stop you digitally, and you can't leave the store until they check your card.
I mean, that makes sense. There's some auditing there. One thing I think is interesting about the Joker stores, the blue laws, so to speak, they have their own blue laws over there. And the blue laws call them to be closed on Sundays. But just like every system in the world, there's loopholes. And if it's under 1,000 square millimeters or whatever they use over there, meters, they can be open. So small stores like ours could be open.
Right, and because there's no people, it doesn't violate the whole working aspect of it. Do you know there's still blue laws like in Kentucky?
Really?
With certain alcohol purchasing times.
Really?
The reason I know that is I tried to buy booze one time. I was in Louisville.
Louisville.
Yeah,
Louisville.
I tried to buy some booze. They said, "Sir, you can't buy booze right now." I'm like, "I'm 21." They're like, "It's not that. We have laws here." My bad.
I mean, just when you thought Pennsylvania was like, no. We're actually really far ahead of time. Quick story. Gary, Indiana, hometown of the King of Pop, Michael Jackson.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, the Jackson 5, they're from Gary, Indiana.
God, I just want to do
Fun fact.
But guys, if you ever find me 2:00 in the morning at a grocery store, all of a sudden loudspeaker comes on and demands me to give him some identification. It's not gonna be a good day, but maybe it happens someday here. Who never knows? It could be a leading edge of technology mix. I know Amazon's tried that at airports.
Mm-hmm.
They have it so that you basically go in with your credit card, buy your stuff, walk out. There's not even checkouts. It's just based on what you pick up.
Yeah, and 5 years from now, we'll be reading about how those stores are closed and being resold.
I know. Great opportunity for inventory and equipment.
I mean, it's a great idea, but anybody that's worked retail, people, it's like the old 80-20 rule, right? 80% of people will never steal. They'll never steal. They won't. Like, literally, they won't steal. And then, some, like 5% of people will steal anything they can. I mean, they'll take your clothes off you if they think you won't resist. And then, there's like 15% that, given an opportunity, will take whatever they can. So if you stick by that rule, it's not going to work.
Must work in Norway.
Yeah, they're probably charging like $45 a pound for 80-20.
You want some caribou?
Round.
You're going to pay for it.
Yeah. Anyways, there you go. Boom. You learned about Michael Jackson's hometown and the Joker.
That was a wild segue.
Yeah.
You're on your game.
Sometimes
today.
we just, you get to experience the madness.
Well, and speaking of crazy grocery stores with no lights on and nobody in the store, I can't wait to hear about this Final Destination moment you had.
It's not my story, but I'm going to tell it. I got permission to tell it from Justin. Shout out Justin Rierick, our Leechburg story, a guy that does everything. He does everything for us, man. He cuts meat. He receives trucks. He delivers stuff. He does maintenance. I mean, multiple stores, does the floor work. So shout out Justin for all you do. But this story, man, this is great. So he was telling me the other day, he waited for time in between meetings and stuff. He comes up to me and says, "Hey, how's everything going?" We always touch base. I'm like, "Good." I said, "How's everything rolling in your projects?" He's like, "Good." He's like, I got a quick story for you. I said, "Good." I said, "Yeah, go ahead." He said, "I had a Final Destination day last week at the store." And for those of you that aren't aware of the Final Destination movies, they're like your kind of worst fears, like urban legends types of things that they make happen during these movies, like logging trucks losing logs, come through the window and hitting your head, which ironically, I actually know 2 different people that have lost their lives to that. But anyways, it's for another story. But Justin's like, "Yeah, I had my Final Destination day here." And I'm like, he was laughing. I said, "What happened?" He said, "Well," he said, "in the same day on maintenance day, Wednesdays are his maintenance days." He said, "In the same day," he said, "I was up on a ladder working on this electrical box. And all of a sudden, your dad," and anybody that knows dad of it, he has a knack, man. He shows up in jobs. You can attest to this. He shows up in jobs.
It'd be quiet. He'd be in the middle of the night working on something, and he's like, "Hey, what's going on?"
Yeah.
Like you're doing something wrong. What's going on?
He just knows when something's happening. But anyways, dad shows up and Justin's working on something. And dad's always questioning people. That's how he made a living. I mean, question people, figuring out what's happening. He's an old school guy on top of everything. And he's like, "Hey, what are you doing up there?" It scared Justin on the ladder. He's messing with these wires and he zaps himself And he said it shocked him, threw him back. He like grabbed the ladder. He grabbed the ladder. And he said he recovered from that, but like that, he had to explain to Dad what's happening. Dad didn't register to Dad that the dude just got blasted. So Justin had the wherewithal to continue with the project while trying to talk to Dad and talk Dad through what he was doing to make sure that Dad agreed with what he was doing. Like that was part one of the 2-part Final Destination plan.
Here's a question. There's 2 rules in a grocery store you never do. Talk to a guy when he's on the saw or a guy that's on a ladder. Both don't end well for the guy in the process.
Especially when the dude on the ladder is working in an electrical box.
That's obviously live.
That's live. So that happened, and thankfully Justin made it through that. So then he does it all for us. The guy does it all for us. So he goes to the front store then, and there was an issue with the Coke pop machine, like wasn't working right. Something wasn't working right. So he's troubleshooting that. He's on customer service, troubleshooting whatever, and so he's troubleshooting the machine, trying to fix what's happening. He said all of a sudden, this car rolls up along the side of the Leechburg store. You can roll up right to the front. The car rolls up right to the front. Guy gets out of the car, and he's got an oxygen tank, just an oxygen tank, and he has a cart. So the driver or whatever gets his little cart ready. The guy gets into the cart. He's got his oxygen tank. Motorized cart, rolls it up to the side. Well, Justin's working on the Coke machine, which is right by the door. So the guy, to be nice, moves his oxygen tank away from Justin to show some respect, and fires up a cigarette with his oxygen tank right there. And Justin's working on the Coke machines. So Justin's like, hey man, appreciate you coming to the store. You mind smoking with your oxygen tank a little further away from Matt? And the guy's like, oh yeah, no problem, man. Real nice guy.
Yeah.
So he moves. But if you're aware of the Leechburg store, you got the front door, you got the Coke machine. And what's next to the Coke machine? The propane chamber. God. The propane chamber. The blue, what's it called? Blue Rhino. Eskimo. Blue Rhino. The Blue Rhino propane chamber with like 15 propane tanks is further down the line. So this guy trying to be nice to Justin and not blow him up with his oxygen tank firing up Marlboro Reds, then moves further away to be nice and then camps out with his oxygen tank up against the propane chamber, firing up Marlboros, and then Justin looks over. He's like, whoa. He's like, hey, buddy, I don't want to bother you again, but can you move away from the propane chamber with your oxygen tank? Please. So he's just survived the electrocution process. Now he comes out. You would think it's a random act. I'm going to enjoy some sun, be outside working on this machine. Now you got this high pressure situation where the dude is trying to blow himself and you up any chance he gets using every possible means. Somehow he survived both and lived to tell me about it. So thank you, Justin, for all your dedication. And it just goes in retail, man. When you're working in retail, all these, so-called mundane tasks can be high stakes pretty quick. Thanks to you and thanks to everybody that works for us for all the propane, oxygen, Marlboro situations that you encounter for us every day.
Well, the fact that man survived 2 near-death experiences, we should take him to Vegas. I'm like this.
Go, man.
I'm like, hey, Justin, I just want you to sit like right behind me.
He's a funny guy.
And just try and chill there. I need your luck. I need your luck.
Oh, he's got a sense of humor, man. I always enjoy my conversation with Justin. But hey, what else do I enjoy? Boom! I love the gong, man. I love the gong. The gong is one of my favorite parts of the whole show. But anyways, retail trends with Doug.
Guys, we're talking about red gold, baby. Red gold. We're talking about copper. Pretty amazing, right? Why copper? Copper is the #1 ingredient in
guys that are on drugs that cut all the copper out of their parents' house while they're in
worry.
Florida and then take them in and cash it in for extra drugs?
We'll get to Bob here in a second. No. Copper is one of the number one ingredients in data centers.
Sorry, I've heard a lot of stories this week.
Oh, no. Don't worry. It's coming. No. But listen to this. So COMEX this month, which is how they trade copper, is right now at $6.30 a pound. In perspective, it was under $4 less than a year ago. And so as it continues, you're talking about for a metric ton is $13,900. So with the rising cost of copper, shortages, people building houses, all stuff's happening. There's a copper shortage. Therefore, it's the price.
That is amazing. I'll tell you, copper has been a big deal for us for a long time because if you're in the retail business, if you're in grocery business, you know that anything involving refrigeration is going to be expensive. And anytime they're talking about, we just need to run some extra piping.
1 inch, 2 inch piping.
The alarm in your brain. I mean, it's like it goes off. It's like a fire siren. It goes off because every line they run, every foot of line they run is copper. And it's going to be very costly. Counting the little guy there with his little soldering device running the copper lines.
And the gas that goes in it. But guys, this is fun this week. We're talking about copper and how it's a big, again, we had our friend John on here talking about scrap and how big copper is. And there's two little angles to this, but the cool thing is the history of it. Did you know copper goes the whole way back to Mesopotamia?
Mesopotamia.
I know, I used to say it all the time in college.
I do like Mesopotamia. It's great. Mesopotamia.
We're talking about Al-Nazir. He was the oldest, basically it was the oldest ever recorded customer complaint. Somebody was so mad about the product, they literally carved it into clay tablets, fired the clay tablets, and walked it back miles to this guy who was supplying copper.
Well, and that makes sense actually because, they're still unsettled over in that spot. You know what Mesopotamia in modern day is, right?
Yeah, isn't it north of Greece?
No, it's Iraq.
Ah.
It's Iraq. It's modern day Iraq, and they're still
Wait, what was Alexander the Great's dad's place?
constantly struggling. Huh?
What was Macedonia?
Macedonia.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Greece.
So Mesopotamia is
Mesopotamia is that's where the one of the most famous mustaches of all time, Saddam. That's where he was at before we got rid of him. But I mean, Mesopotamia's been a mess forever. It started off with arguing about copper. Now they're arguing about oil and whatever else is happening over there.
Well, you know what they found in Nazir's house when they excavated it recently? Think about it. This guy's house has been there for, 4,000 years. You know what they found? It's just stacks of these complaint tablets. Just these people are just mad. But, think about the rage. Now you can send a quick text, get on your computer.
Yeah, you start chiseling into a
Chiseling.
tablet. If I'm mad enough that on my evening after I just worked today, if I'm chiseling into a tablet, my complaint, and I follow through with that, and then, let's face it, it's not like you could just send it in, you get UPS to take it. You then had to deliver it or have it delivered to the dude's house. I'm talking about a heavy tablet.
Heavy tablet.
For him to have that many complaints.
He's like the first shyster. This guy's shyster.
Yeah.
The first shyster.
Yeah, in an area that I would not be a shyster. Like Mesopotamia, Baghdad, that area, there's some wild hombres over there.
Oh, no, they'll make it disappear.
So, the fact that he had that many complaints, is pretty wild. Well, guy wasn't afraid to live on the edge a little bit.
No. And what people don't realize is, if you bring that whole copper experience back to today, there's a lot of things going on. Basically, they're predicting there's going to be a potential 15% tariff on all import copper. The DRC and a couple other places that produce the copper are basically less mines. They're maxing out the mines, less labor support, so it's harder to get fresh copper. And then beyond that, people are now stockpiling. Like you have these construction companies stockpiling for all their projects because it's going to be hard to get breakers. It's going to be hard to get all this copper wire and things of that nature. So they're trying to find alternatives. But the biggest problem is because of the cost of copper going up so much, you have these teams, this little conniving group of people that are surgically removing your air conditioner unit because it's exposed copper pipes while you're on vacation and wherever you're going. So when you get back, not only are you mad because your house got messed up, you can't even get the stuff to replace it without paying double, if not triple, what you paid for a couple of years ago.
Hopefully the wrong people aren't watching this episode, because there was an epidemic in Kittanning a few years ago where you had a couple cowboys going around cutting copper out of. They'd find out, like, older people that were going to Florida, and they'd go to their house and cut all the copper out of the basement. So these people come back from Florida, try to get a shower, try to get that nightly cup of water.
Oh my God, it's like the wet bandits are back.
Crickets.
Wet bandits are back.
Yeah, they'd literally just go to the basement, cut everything out of the basement.
So what we learned today, we learned that with the increasing cost of copper, you have obviously increased costs, but you also have increased crime. We also learned that if you have HVAC, lock that up. You have copper piping, lock that up. And never, ever, ever buy any copper from our boy Nazir.
No. And I am glad, as you guys know out there, you've been following the progress of me, renovating our farmhouse and getting the farmhouse up to snuff. I'm so glad that the copper portion of the journey, the piping and all that kind of stuff, is behind me.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know why? Because when I caught it, one of our electricians were there, and I look over, and he had a whole stack of copper wire from the old house. I'm like, what are you doing with that, cowboy? Oh, you don't want any more, right? I'm like, yeah, I want it. Leave it where it lay.
That's it, man. 80% of the country will not steal. There's 15, though. You got to watch those little...
Yeah, because you're getting charged for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now, Doug, it is time for... Boom! My grocery item of the week.
What's in the bag?
This is an item that has been this has been a friend of mine since, I can't even remember a time where I wasn't into this.
Wait, before you take it out, though, this is our most controversial product ever.
This?
Yep. Just wait. We're going to go why. It's going to blow everybody's mind why, but go ahead.
Jif peanut butter. Again, this is not a sponsored segment. This is just stuff that I love. And, I remember when I was a kid, I don't even know if they still do this commercial, but there was always that commercial or that little slogan, choosy moms, choose Jif. And, the thing is, peanut butter, everybody loves peanut butter, and everybody's got their brand. You got Skippy and Peter Pan. Personally, I don't trust them even to this day because, there was multiple recalls. They were banned for like 2 years. And to be honest, even before that, they were a little sweet for my liking. And private label, even though private label, as we mentioned in an earlier episode, it stacks up. It's close. But like, to me, like, look at the texture, man. Look at the texture. I mean, that's unbelievable texture. Look at that gloss. Look at that gloss. It's so good. And, this is like, you can just put your spoon in it. And it's like, just unbelievable. Protein. I mean, you got protein. 7 grams of protein. I mean, you can't look at the fat. Don't look at the fat. Sugar's not that bad. 3 grams of sugar. But
before you put it in there, because you're going to be chewing on it for a while.
I'm not, man.
Do you know what these call
this whole thing if I wanted to.
You know what some people thought it was as kids?
Huh.
Jiffy. Jiffy peanut butter. Jiffy, not Jif. Jiffy peanut butter.
It's Jif.
I know, but if you look on the lines and all the chat groups, the Mandela effect, which those don't know, is that you remember things differently from everybody else, and you do it as a mass society. People literally thought it was called Jiffy. Jiffy. Jiffy.
Well, it's not Jiffy. It's Jif. And it's so freaking good, man. I mean, it's so freaking good. Last night, in fact, I got home, and Bran, she's an amazing cook, and she makes dinner, like these crazy dinners I sit down to. It's like, wow, where am I? Last night, she didn't make dinner because we had some, like, backstock, so to speak. I just, like, saw this thing of Jif in the cupboard, and I was like, man, I saw this bread. I saw Jif. Next thing I know, I made 3 freaking massive peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. It was just amazing. Never gets old. So there you go. My item of the week, Jif.
It's pretty amazing though, Ryan. Jif goes back to Procter & Gamble, bought the brand from Big Top Peanut Butter in 1955, reformulated it with oils, molasses, and named it Jif. And then was triggered the 1960s Great Peanut Butter War, which for those who don't know, it took 12 years for the FDA to agree with Jif that for it to be peanut butter, not peanut spread, has to have 90% peanuts in it.
Wow, that's interesting. Mm-hmm. That's actually comforting. I like that.
Yeah, because basically then, that's when They basically formulated Jif to have 90% peanuts in it. And then because of all that stuff they added, 1981, the whole thing I just mentioned before, Choosy Moms Choose Jif, came out in the early 80s. And that slogan, after they won the war, man, it smells like peanut butter. After they won that war of naming rights and what truly is peanut butter versus peanut spread.
And I'll tell you.
It's strong like bull in here.
Strong like bull. I mean, it smells amazing. It smells amazing. Actually, I just want to keep eating it, but I have to talk, so I can't.
Look, the dog's after you.
No, I mean, the dog. You can't see this, but Doug's dog, Hope, she is like literally trying to find out where this peanut butter is. I mean, it's so good, so freaking good. Doug, you notice anything special about the coloring? Can you explain to the crowd?
So Jif is white lettering, very nice and bubbly on a background of red, blue, and green. And it says peanut butter, not spread.
And you know what? That's because it's the real deal. And it tastes so freaking good, man. And I do, like, I love it. I could literally sit here and just eat it as a snack, just spoon after spoonful after spoonful. I do love. Now, here's a question for you, though. When you make a peanut butter jelly sandwich, let's say you were going to the gallows tomorrow for doing some crazy heinous crime on humanity, which you would never do. But let's just say you were going to the gallows, and yet let's say that you had some like crazy guy that was, what do they call the guy that's in charge? The warden.
The warden, yeah. Oh, final meal.
Yeah, let's say the warden was really sadistic, and he's like, Doug, you got a final meal tomorrow, but you don't get to pick your meal. You got to pick. You get 3 peanut butter jelly sandwiches, but I'm gonna do you a solid. I'm gonna let you pick the jelly. What would be your jelly?
I would file injunction, and I'd be like, Your Honor, or your warden guy. No, skip the jelly. Marshmallow fluff. That's a secret. I love it. My favorite sandwich of all time is a little bit Elvis inspired, but I have a peanut butter sandwich, no jelly, peanut butter, marshmallow fluff, and honey on toasted bread.
I mean, that was a great story, and I'm glad that you got to go down that. And that's really good. But I'm saying this guy isn't one. He's not. There's no negotiation.
I can pick the jelly?
You have to pick a jelly out of the different flavors of jelly.
Oh, just go Concord grape, baby.
You like the grape?
Yeah. Strawberry's too highfalutin for me.
Yeah, you know what? I'll be honest. I like raspberry. I don't know. I like raspberry with a little bit of like. I don't like it real drippy. Like I don't like when you're eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I don't like it to drip all over me. Like I like it to have some substance to it. You know what I mean? Like
oh no, I'm with you.
What do they call that when there's
viscosity?
No, there's a name for it.
Well, there's
no, there's a name for it. Like
it's viscosity.
Maybe that's it. I don't know. It sounds really fancy. I don't think, but maybe it is. But anyways, yeah, it'd be raspberry for me. But yeah, Jif. Choosy Moms Choose Jif. Unsolicited.
You know what I really like? I like the Schmuckers frozen ones. Like the ones
Uncrustables.
Yeah.
Oh my! When Cole was trying to gain weight for football, Uncrustables were. I mean, that was like gold because you could pop them out. Boom! 20 grams of protein and all these calories. Great.
Do you know the largest buyer of Schmuckers is or Schmuckers Uncrustables? Ready? NFL.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yep.
Even college teams have like crazy amounts of.
There's a whole fridge full.
Yeah. At all times, there's somebody just constantly restocking it.
Right.
Because it's the best bang for your buck. You grab them, and it's the best part of the bread. It's the best part of the sandwich. So good. Peanut butter is so freaking good. You know what else is always good? Doug's retail story of the week.
So this is during my political strife. I know people think it's funny when I say political strife was beginning or ending, but it was back when I was fighting for the right to party for Oktoberfest. And I was there in the store, and I got a phone call. Well, no, I went home. I got a phone call that there's a dead deer in the parking lot. And I'm like, dead deer? Like, yeah, literally a dead deer in the parking lot. So I go to the store, and I look. And literally, it's like this thing climbed out of the Night of the Living Dead. It was like missing parts. Its eyes were missing and sunken in. It was white. There was no color left in its fur, and it was a medium-sized deer. It was a doe. And it had like these black splotches over it, and I'm like, what is happening? And I look down, and it's laying right there in the middle, like literally as soon as you make that first turn in Saxonburg, It was laying right there.
Somebody was sending a message.
That's what I thought. I thought some redneck was like,
That wasn't a freshly hit deer.
No, it's been cooking for a while, right? I thought some redneck and his buddies were like, driving to Sprinkles, we'll throw a dead deer in the parking lot, right? So I'm like, oh. And I was under a lot of scrutiny. So I call a game warden up. I'm like, hey, there's somebody threw a dead deer in my parking lot. I'm not sure if they killed it for this purpose, if it's roadkill. It's a weird looking deer. I mean, I've seen a lot of dead deer. I've seen obviously the butcher shop when I was a kid. I'm like, this is crazy. So I watched the cameras and the game warden's there. And the cool about game wardens, they kind of like, they have the green, the bulletproof vest, and like, they have cool Suburban.
Oh, they're pretty bad.
Legit.
Yeah.
So he rolls in, he's like, let's watch your camera footage. So we're sitting there. And all of a sudden, car goes by, deer's there. And I'm like, what? Car goes by, deer's there. And I'm thinking to myself, was it there before? No, it wasn't there before. The thing. So I looked at the other image, and here, this lady hit this deer probably a month ago. And because of the decomposing deer, it just slipped out of the car. So the car goes by, deer falls out. And I look up and I'm like, I had to watch it like 20 times. I can't believe it. Literally, it was stuck underneath the car. And then just like she hit that one turn perfect and it just literally appeared. And if you watch the video though, I wish I would have stayed, but you watch the video, it looks like it just warped into the parking lot.
And this is September.
Yeah.
So obviously, by this point, she should have noticed the smell coming from her vehicle.
Well, that and like you crack a deer, you know it. I mean, I'm not sure how she hit it, didn't get out of the car and think, I don't see the deer, and just kept driving for like a month.
Unless, and hopefully this isn't the case, unless she put in like a session at one of the local watering holes or non-local watering holes and was just rolling down the road listening to 1984 John Mellencamp and boom and thought why would somebody put a freaking speed bump in the middle of the highway?
No, this like, I mean, and the weird thing about it, it wasn't an SUV or truck. It was like a Prius, whatever kind of lower car. It was an older lady driving, and literally like, so the game
Poor
warden
lady didn't know what was happening.
No, and the game warden looks at me. And he's like, this is crazy. He's like, we'll take the deer and we'll dispose of it and do the thing what they do with it. But like, I'm like, have you ever seen this? He's like, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I've been working this job for like 20 years. I've never seen this. This is unbelievable. Because like, you look at the deer and you could have sworn it's from like a horror movie. I mean, it looked like some bad stuff happened to it.
It makes sense now. Older lady, maybe most of the time this happens in older men, but the sense of smell kind of goes. So maybe she didn't smell anything. She just boom, just happy to get from point A to point B. Okay, I'm safely in my driveway. Okay, we're good. The police aren't behind me. I survived another day. Not thinking. So, I mean, that makes more sense. I would have loved to have seen, 15, 20 years ago when Jack Lambert was a local, guy.
Yeah.
And I would have liked to have seen him come up on the scene.
Oh, as the warden, as a game warden.
Game commissioner. Remember, after he retired, he became a game commissioner servicing Armstrong and Butler County.
And there have been no cameras because they didn't have.
But I would have loved to see Jack Lambert's reaction to that situation.
That's been interesting.
Because he was a tough dude. The persona matched the dude.
Yeah.
He wasn't a guy you just went up and was like, hey, it would have been interesting to see how he would have handled that.
Hey, where do you get your license renewed? Do you go to West Kittanning?
West Kittanning.
They had that problem there with they got raided a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Well, last time I was up there, I was getting my driver's license done, right? And they go through the process, you show them all your stuff, and they go over to the next thing and take a picture. Well, did you know like there's really no age restrictions on getting your driver's license renewed? Like as long as you have the documents, you're allowed to get it renewed.
I did know that.
And you want to hear the craziest thing? So I'm there, and this guy's helping his mom because he wants to take her on vacation and stuff. This is before they had all like the verified driver's license, everything else, passports. She had her driver's license, and she was getting it renewed. And literally, he's like, okay, well, now take your picture. And she was sitting in the chair like this, looking, and there's the camera right here, like you guys are. And she's like, is this where I look, sweetie? He's like, no, Mom, look to your left. And she's like this, looks over here. He's like, no, Mom, over here. look at the camera, and when they took the picture, she was still like looking like down and not actually at the camera, and gave her the license.
They gave her the license.
She couldn't see. She couldn't see, and they gave her the license.
You know, that's such a tough thing. That's such a tough thing. You know, as people get older, your family members get older. You know, let's face it. As a person, part of becoming an adult is getting your driver's license. That's like one of the major points of like freedom for a person. So then when you get older and you're not safe or capable, then taking that license away is a bad thing because you're taking away their freedom. But like, where's the fine line? Like there, come on. I mean, the son obviously is trying to do what's best for the mom, but like if your mom has to guess 3 times which way the camera is that's taking her picture, and that's all she's thinking about right now is getting her picture taken. I don't know if dealing with 5 merging lanes, a light, a bus over here, a bike rider over here, I don't know if she's quite qualified to be handling that situation.
No, get her an ID. Get her an ID, non-driving.
Yeah, get her an ID, non-driving ID, and call it a day. Let's not even leave a chance of her driving. You know, let's act like she just got her 3rd DUI, and let's just take that driving privilege away.
Don't do that. Have to go in the blow and go again.
Oh, yeah, we don't want to do that.
Don't do that.
We don't want to do that. We don't want to put Doug through that.
But guys, this week, so we made it through that, but this week, guys, we're talking about the retail history. And we're talking about going on the same kind of the flavor of the scrap yards. We go the whole way back to 1942 and the scrap boom. And people don't realize it was so serious. If you ever empty out, say if you need a shaving cream today, right? Most of us now, we get a little like light, we shake it, you know, maybe it's like a weird, you know, you want to get another one. Back then, you had to give them the empty shaving cream to get a new one.
Well, you know, it was a time, 1942. I mean, we were in the midst of World War II. We just got bombed in Pearl Harbor, and we were, you know, mounting an invasion in Europe. And I mean, it was really the last time America, and possibly the first and last time America was involved in total war, where, okay, you had the dudes that were training to go to war, but every single citizen, everybody in this country was a part of the war effort, whether it be conserving what they're using so that we can use it for the war effort. And copper,
it was a big part of it.
huge.
And to the same point, you had people like kids going around as copper gangs and helping by collecting copper from old buildings, old radiators. Back then, there's a lot of radiators in buildings, so there's a lot of copper there. There was even a town in the Midwest that melted their Civil War cannon for the war effort. It's pretty crazy. But what people don't realize is the grocery store was the hub. It was like, can you imagine running a grocery store now and then having a whole scrap yard in the back of the store and then having your butcher counter? Back then, they didn't have a case like they do now is all service beef. You'd go order, they'd cut you your steak, they'd cut your whatever right there, and you just get it wrapped up and go. But back then, they were the counter. You'd get your old tin can, because there's a lot of canned goods. You'd get your old tin can, and you'd put your bacon and cooking grease in it, and then turn it in. You know why?
No.
The number one ingredient in bacon grease, glycerin. Glycerin, nitroglycerin, TNT.
Yeah.
It was a basic explosive, and that's how they got all the explosive ordinances that they later used to go shoot down some enemy airplanes or blow up stuff.
I'm so glad that there's guys like John Thompson, our guest, and Thompson Scrap and those kind of people that handle that now, so we don't have to, because, I mean, we're just trying to keep the shelves full of hoagies. I mean, you know, the last thing we want to do is have one of our deli counter people in a line of 6 people waiting for pastrami to have to go and check to see how much, you know, Alfred has of tin or copper. I mean,
It's pretty crazy.
can you imagine that? Wait a minute, ma'am. I have to count this guy's copper. I have to weigh his copper up. I'll be right back to slice your lunch meat.
Right.
I mean, like, I don't want a guy that just weighed up copper coming back and slicing my lunch meat.
Can you imagine though, like, I mean, the pride that you would have? Realize this, 1 pound of bacon grease, right, is basically enough to produce a half pound of dynamite. So think about this. You're like, I'm eating bacon every day. I'm going to make all kinds of stuff. And literally you trade that in and that turns into explosive ammunition, all that stuff.
Wow. You know, the thing that's bad is take something like bacon grease. It's such a beautiful thing. It smells amazing. It tastes amazing. I mean, it's not good for you, but it tastes amazing. It smells amazing. You know, but again, one more thing that's an amazing thing that is really bad. And I thought it was just bad because it clogs your arteries. I didn't realize it could blow up a city. You know, I mean,
it's not great.
It's way worse than I thought. I thought it was bad to begin with. Now it's way worse.
That explains it. Remember the movie Fight Club? They're making soap.
Oh, yeah.
The number one ingredient was fat. They were making soap.
They were making soap.
Which is crazy.
There's a movie list, Fight Club. If we didn't already say it, add Fight Club, Brad Pitt, Ed Norton.
But one of the things, too, is to talk about is because of all this stuff happening, it basically forced the industry to change their packaging. That's why a lot of stuff went from metals to cardboards to things that are easily reproducible, which, you know, is obviously we see today. That's why like there's a lot of stuff that's not in metal anymore other than like your traditional canned goods. But next time you go to throw out that container, just think it could be 1942 and that container could be used for the war effort and it could be a total mobilization of a country, including your bacon grease. But guys, it's been a great episode. Ryan always ends it with a high note, literally high note. But we're talking about we talked about everything today about the Bronze Age and our boy Nazir being the first scammer. Everything from that to the 12 years it took to make peanut butter the way we know it today. And it wasn't Jiffy, it was Jif.
And, you know, thanks again to John Thompson. I mean, you know, from the firecracker to the silver cup to all the events that he hosts to all the racetracks that he surrounds himself with throughout the year and to everything he does for our community, creating such great events and providing such a great, scrap business and picking up the bales for us and enlightening us. I mean, he's the one that really told us about how you can actually make money on the bales. Well, his credit.
And to that point, talk about a great partner. When my box crusher blew up, you know what you did, stalker. You don't leave a box crusher and walk away. Blows up. He the next day brought a box crusher.
He's a solid guy,
Great
man.
guy.
Passionate guy. Really have a lot of respect for him. I'm glad he was a guest.
But guys, if you didn't learn anything today, I hope you learned that, you know, having a little bit of dirt in your hair on a Friday night, you know, obviously locking up your outdoor AC units and always steals your copper. And be careful when you're playing lottery because there's always that lurker waiting for you to make a mistake.
And if you're freshly or permanently or in the retirement process and you're spending part of your time in Florida, little tip from the field, get some camera systems, even in the basement. You know, the copper's worth something, and there's people out there, unfortunately, that know it. So
just don't put
on a serious note, protect yourself.
But just don't put it at public playgrounds. But guys, as always, big thanks to our sponsor, PASkillAlliance.org, helping small communities across the nation keep the lights on, keep our VFWs supplied with what they need to make sure they help our veterans. As always, guys, we can't do without you.
And make sure you subscribe. Make sure you check us out on all the platforms, Spotify, YouTube, all that stuff. And follow us, subscribe us. Every one of those follows, every subscribe helps us be able to keep telling these funny stories. Thanks for all the support that we can't do what we do without you.
Come and see us. Hey, I've never seen a man put a mic into a wall like that. Look at that. Look at that mic over there. Like it's totally erected. Look at it. You got to be your chair. No, you're going to break it that way. Don't do it that way. Oh, so bad. Struggle.